Thank you very much, Dean. Obviously, Dean Hardman there, president, well, not president, but he is the director of sport and student experience at AOC. So bless you and thank you very much for our introduction there. So I'm Elliot. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the Schools and Colleges Liaison Officer. So that means that my job entails a whole bunch of different things, but primarily it's talking to teachers, talking to students, talking to parents and carers, and basically exploring how they can use esports as a vehicle to motivate and engage their students. This session here is just a brief 101 about kind of what really esports is, how it can be used in an educational setting. But we've got a whole number of different panels, talks, presentations for you today that explore various different sides of esports, whether it's in education, whether it's in career pathways, whether it's in digital trends in the future, whether it's women in esports. There's a whole load. So I'm really happy to present those to you today. So first off, thank you everybody who's joined. I see we've still got people coming in, but of course everybody is welcome. This is a free event for all intents and purposes. What we want to say most is I know that this has been a really difficult time for lots of people, particularly in traditional sports, traditional activities for schools and colleges. The fact that, you know, so much of the school year has been downtime has really shone light on the fact that esports is an event that can continue throughout the lockdown, throughout the pandemic, and without the necessity of being able to be in a physical location to experience competition with people. So with that being said, you know, we were really proud to have our competition continue all throughout last year. There was a few delays, obviously, as government released new legislation here and there, but we were really proud to have a continued session for all of our competing students. We had about 80, 90 unique schools and colleges take part last year. We've got more than that already signed up for this year. I might want to just throw in now that there's 2 days left on the deadline to register for this season, which starts next week. In fact, it runs through to Christmas, but I'll come on to that a bit in a bit later. But yeah, it's been fantastic for us to see growth in an area that we love and that we're passionate about, where other industries have felt decline. So first off, what is esports? So esports is the idea of competitive human versus human gaming. I'm sure many of you have heard the term. Many of you probably already know what I'm about to say. But actually something else I want to discuss today is the idea of the difference between gaming and esports, and then esports and kind of pure esports. So if you think about gaming being, I'm just playing a video game, I'm going to complete a level or defeat a boss. It's a single player, I'm against the computer. So that's what you consider gaming is, whereas esports is more, it's me playing against you, or me playing against somebody else, or both of us, or all of us playing against another team. That purpose of competition, when you're both outfitted with the same tools, that's what makes an esport. Now, esports aren't really chosen in advance, they're more community developed. So what will happen is a game will kick off, it'll start to gain popularity, and then students will find, or not students, but then players will find a way to make that game a competitive, or make a competitive element out of that game. So that is the hook and the crux of what an esport is. As long as there is that competition element between one team or another, or one player and another, then we're happy to call it an esport. So as I did mention earlier, like pure esports, I want to talk about the difference between games that have both a story in them, you know, and a one-player, single-player campaign mode, but also a competitive element. So if I'm talking about like a pure esport, for instance, I'm talking about League of Legends. If you've not heard of that, it's basically the only game mode is a competitive game mode. You'll find that follows suit across a bunch of different games. But if I was talking about Call of Duty, for instance, one of the biggest and most popular esports out there, it also has that gaming element, which is the story mode, the campaign, the single player, the co-op. So there's that kind of thing to remember as well. some of the most pure esports like League of Legends have been investing a lot into their story recently. I remember, you know, however many years ago it was when it first came out, it only had you know, a single lore page for each champion that was only a couple of paragraphs long, and that would be the story, as it were, you know, just a few paragraphs of text. Whereas now, you know, it's developed into full-on story arcs between characters, relationships, animated cinematics. The development that we're seeing is actually incredible, and I'm enjoying watching the progression as we go through. So the Student Champs, what is it? Basically, we are a not-for-profit organization, and we run the largest schools and colleges tournament across the UK. We have teams from Scotland, Northern Ireland, Wales, right down to the very south and southeast of England, all the corners of the UK, really competing regularly on a Wednesday afternoon against one another, representing their school or college. Now, this is something that's really important because it shares so many values with sport. It shares values with music and art and theatre, but it's that factor that gives students who don't necessarily fit into those categories, those more traditional activities, a place to express themselves. You'll find that many of the students who do take part in esports sort of come alive, and they grow in their personality, they grow in their confidence. The thing to remember is that 90% of kids these days, or young persons these days, are playing video games anyway, at home on their own or with their friends. And it's important to us as educators to understand that we should be learning about what they're doing, not just for our own knowledge, but also for their safeguarding, for their development, and then also engaging with it as well, so that we can learn what makes them tick in this day and age, in this increasingly digital era, and then use that as a way to inspire them and to motivate them in an educational setting. So this championships, I will play you a short video in a moment, just before I hand off, well, before I finish this session. But I will tell you a little bit about it. It runs through the academic term. We follow the winter season, which is October to December, and then we will have a short break for Christmas. This period is called the qualifying period. So teams will play each other from all across the country, earning points, and then the amount of points that they earn will base their seed for the next season as we go into spring. Spring season starts in January and runs through to around Easter time. And this will be broken up into divisions to make it a bit more competitive. As I said at the beginning, the winter season, everybody plays a bit of everybody to get a feel for it. And then in spring, we divide it up into the more competitive elements. So, you know, top teams will play the top teams, and the lesser ranked teams will play each other. This makes for a really, really good and exciting and competitive environment. We play 4 games at the moment, with the addition of FIFA, but FIFA's a separate ball game because it's a standalone cup that we do with AOC. But those 4 games are League of Legends, Rocket League, Overwatch, with the addition this year of Valorant, which is a 16+ game. It's the first time we've included a 16+ game. It will be available to only 16 and above students. But it's a really, really promising era for us. It shows that, you know, this is something that is engaging students. They have been asking for Valorant for a year and a half, maybe more, since its release. But it's something that we're excited to see as a British Esports Association, because it shows our development as an organization. This is our 4th year now running this tournament. We started back in 2018 with a tiny cohort of teams who were doing it as primarily a pilot. I think there were 8 that took part in the April of that year, and then we started the full season in September. We're now over 100 unique schools and colleges, with approximate, I mean, I can't say the teams yet because I haven't had them all submitted for this year, but last year we had over 300 teams, which means that over 1,000 students across the UK were playing on a weekly basis against one another. I've been in touch with so many teachers over the last year, 2 years, 2.5 years that I've been working here for British Esports, and I can honestly say, hand on heart, the amount of good feedback I've heard, the amount of inspiring stories, and just general good feelings have come back from the teachers to say, look, yes, oh my word, I've really enjoyed doing this. Our students have absolutely loved it. We're looking to enter more teams next year. We're looking to up our game. And you'll meet some of those teachers and students today. But it's just really heartwarming for me to experience that as somebody who's been a provider. Of course, there have also been, you know, a couple of negative things here and there, but that's great. You know, we appreciate negative feedback. It helps us improve for the next time, for the next season. And, you know, that in itself is something that's extremely valuable to us. So what do you do if you want to be involved? Essentially, all you need to do is register your school or college. It's really straightforward. We've got a brand new website, which as soon as I finish this segment, I will link in the chat. But it's really straightforward. As I said, we're a not-for-profit. So we don't charge very much. It's just a very simple but small admin fee of £25 for the year. And then that will cover you until this time next year. You can enter as many teams as you like, in as many games as you like. With the only caveat is it's just £5 extra for each team that you do. So that's the long and short of it. There are a whole load of other different things that we do as British Esports Association. I'm sure you can all spend some time on our website, which has just been rebuilt. Actually, it's a fantastic new site, showcases all of the good things that we do. So please do go check that out as well if you have time. So look, I'm just going to quickly share my screen and just give you a demonstration of a video to give you a little bit more of an informative view of what the Champs looks like.
Esports is one of the fastest growing industries in the world, and it captures a wide demographic of young people. More educational institutes are incorporating esports into the curriculum, as well as providing opportunities for students to experience competitive gaming. We host the British Esports Student Champs, which is a series of competitive video game tournaments for school and college students aged 12 and over in the UK. Competing in teams, students can play against each other throughout the academic year to try and secure themselves a place at the live Grand Finals event. The 2021 Grand Finals were held at the Metronome in Nottingham in collaboration with the Confetti Institute of Creative Technologies, and the stream of the event peaked at 182,000 live viewers on Twitch. Starting from October, matches will take place until Christmas break as part of our winter split, and fixtures recommence again in January to begin the spring split. The highest performing teams at the end of the spring season move on to a series of qualifier matches to determine who will make it to the Grand Finals. The Champs promote the development of leadership, communication, social skills, and cognitive thinking amongst students, which can be transferred across a multitude of career pathways. Visit our Teacher Zone using the link in the description to find out how you can get your students involved in the Champs. Alternatively, contact one of our school and college liaison officers who will help answer any questions you have about kickstarting your journey in esports. Good luck and have fun.
All right, so that's just a little brief video for you there. I hope you enjoyed it. Obviously, you saw in there some stuff about the live finals. This is an event that we look forward to every year, where we actually fully engage everybody who's participated in the year. We invite students from all over the country, and we have the most incredible event, giving the students some amazing experiences with the full live stage, full production crew, lights, cameras, action, the whole lot. So it's a really, really cool event for us at the end of our finals to reward our students and our schools as well for participating. So with that, that brings me to the end of my session. I'm now going to invite on a panel of people to come on and speak to us a little bit about the development of academic and competitive esports in education. This is how they have utilized the BTEC, which has obviously, you can see, sponsored by Pearson, within the schools and colleges across the UK and internationally. But today, to bring onto the stage, I would also like to invite Laura Hall from Pearson Education, Tom Dorff, who's the head of education here at British Esports, and then also James Fraser Murison, who's Director of Learning and Esports Lecturer at Queen Mary's College in Basingstoke.